This video is brought to you by my new album entitled Dougal's Treats. It's full of hummable melodies, bluesy riffs and the occasional bit of virtuoso flashy stuff as well. If you enjoy bluesy rock guitar with memorable tunes and solos that wail like a banshee, then check out the links in the description. The premium version includes all of the tabs for each tune, videos and jam tracks as well. Thanks for listening, now on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well, as many of these videos often do. Today's started off with this morning's warm-up jam. That was me having a little bit of a rattle around earlier today, and just basically I thought I'd incorporate it into today's video, which, because it's Wednesday, means that we're doing another in the series on the basics of home recording. If you've missed any of these videos, then let's just have a brief recap. Episode 1 was all about getting started, what hardware you need, what software you need, how you hook it all up, and we concluded that video with me kind of putting together a bass and drums track, some MIDI drums, and recording a bass line over the top of it. Then episode 2 was all about recording acoustic guitar. Episode 3 was all about recording electric rhythm guitar parts, both clean and dirty. Then in episode 4 we tackled the fine art of MIDI programming when I decided what this track needs is a little bit of Hammond organ, so I showed you how to put on some Hammond organ using a bit of MIDI programming. Then episode 5 was all about recording lead guitar parts, how I use delay, how I pan things, and basically how I do it. The kind of go-to templates that I have for recording a lead guitar part, like the one you just heard. Last week, which was episode 6, we looked at, maybe you don't have access to outboard gear like this Blue Guitar Amp one, or maybe some effects processor, or maybe you have but you're not quite sure how to hook it up and how does that work with your interface and all that kind of stuff. Well, fear not, last week's video was all about how to use amp sims. Not just any old amp sims, but there's a particularly good sounding free one that I spoke about last week, and all of these videos are linked in this video's description, and if you go to those videos, any relevant software that's mentioned is in those in the description of those videos too. So what we're doing today then, well, pretty much the final stage of the process for this particular project we've been working on, which is getting a mix. How to get the levels right, how to kind of route things between different tracks, again how to pan things to get that sort of stereo picture, etc, etc. Let's head off over now to this PC over here and take a look at what's going on inside Reaper.
Here is the explanation.
Okay, this is our familiar little project that we've been working on. Just to recap, we have a drum track, we have a bass track, a track folder here with 2 double-tracked tracks of acoustic rhythm guitar panned left and right. Similar thing there with some clean electric chords. Similar thing there, a track folder panned left and right. That's the left channel, that's the right channel, feeding into this one here of power chords. We've got a MIDI programmed Hammond organ on these two tracks. Again, panned left and right, and to simulate the double tracking, I've got a 35 millisecond delay on the right hand side there. Then my lead guitar part, the part that you heard me playing at the top of the video, that's on these two tracks here. Again, panned left and right with the same kind of phony, basically double tracking on here. 35 millisecond delay on the right hand side. I've already done a lot of the donkey work in terms of setting up how I want the mix to work. I'll just take you through that. If we go into the effects on the drums, you will see when it wakes up that I've got Guitar Rig installed on the drum track, and I've got this solid bus comp compressor on the drums. I'm going to be hearing a lot about compression in this video because it's an important part of the mixing process. Basically, if you're not sure what it does, it just calms down the transients. It makes the waveform less spiky and therefore less likely for some random cymbal crash or whatever to just flick the meters into the red. And, you know, just keeps everything under control, basically. On the bass track, we've got, again, Guitar Rig installed when it wakes up. It's just taking a sweet little moment to do that. And I'm just using a bass preset here called Clean Plec Bass. On the on the acoustic track, again, Guitar Rig once again. And we've got a VC76 compressor set to its acoustic guitar preset, and this studio reverb here with stairwell preset. Also on the acoustic track, I've got a little bit of EQ. This is just the built-in plugin that's in Reaper called Rear EQ, and I've got a high-pass filter on there just to get rid of some of the muddier bottom end. As you can see there, you can see what's happening on the frequency spectrum. It's just shaving that off down there. On the clean chords, what have we got on there? Again, just going to the effects tab. Again, just that VC76 compressor on the electric guitar sound. Again, it just makes everything a little bit more easy to control. The power chords, the sort of dirty electric guitar, I've just got the same high pass filter on there because it just, again, gets rid of the muddy bottom end and stops the sort of lower frequencies in the guitar part getting in the way of what the bass is doing. No real need for compression on distorted electric guitar because it tends to have natural compression in it anyway. And then that's basically it. All of the tracks that I want reverb on, apart from I've got reverb on the acoustic part, but I'm using like that standalone Guitar Rig reverb for that. But all of the tracks where I want reverb, like the drums and the clean chords and the power chords and the organ and stuff, so on, you can see I'm just routing those. I disable the master send, and I can send it to the reverb track that I've got set up, which I don't need another one of those, so we'll just get rid of that. But you can see I can just route all of these, all or any of these tracks into this reverb tank down here, which is just another track that I've got set up. And go into there, you can see I've got the reverb plugin installed with just this room reverb preset. Right, so if we go to the mixing board now, just by pressing Control M on the keyboard, let's look at the master track over here. I've got, once again, there's that word again, compression. Rear comp, again, the standard sort of built-in compression that comes with Reaper, and I've got it set to the preset Master Bus NY Comp. I presume NY stands for New York, I'm not sure, but I do know that I like the way that this compression really fattens up the overall mix, as does this Ferox free plugin. I just downloaded this just to see what it's like, and you can see magnetic tape simulator plugin. It really does add a nice analog warmth to a mix. Right, so I would love to show you what each of the tracks sound like individually, but last time I did that with the drum track, I got a copyright notice on the video. For some reason, somebody had claimed copyright on my video because I'd used a drum plugin that is freely available and that I paid for. And anyway, let's not go there. So what I'm going to do now is select the or solo rather the bass and drums, and let's make sure we're at the start of the project, and let's hear what they sound like. There we go. Now, I've set these faders largely out of experience. In the same way as you can look at the bridge of a guitar and know roughly where to set the saddles for, as a starting point for getting your intonation right, you can kind of do the faders in the same way when you are, starting a mix. If I bring in the acoustic guitar, you'll hear that sounds pretty, kind of bang on, hopefully, with the faders set where they are already. Let's have a listen to that bass and drums, but now with the acoustic in there. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The way I like to do a mix is to start with the basic bedrock, which is drums, bass, and some form of rhythm guitar, in this case acoustic guitar. Then put the solo on top, and then what we can do is fit the other things in the layers in between. I tend to think of it like a layer cake, basically. This is the base of the cake, and this is the icing on top, the solo, and then we can make these fit in between, and you tweak things and you adjust them, and I'm going to show you how I go about doing that. But let's bring that fader down to where my kind of experience and eyeball tells me it needs to be, and let's have a listen to this. Yeah, I can live with that. So now, let's just go over one little aspect that is going to be, well, this basically covers how I do the majority of a mix, to be honest with you. I set up the basic values like that, and then I use automation envelopes, which are what you get when you go in to see where it says read on this track here. Let's just hit that, and you get a bunch of parameters that you can control for that particular track. The one I'm interested in is volume, so I'm going to check that box there, and you'll see that it gives me this green line here on the track. That's called an envelope or envelope, depending upon your pronunciation. I can kind of drag this out so that it's, nice and big, and I can move that up and down just by grabbing it like, there we go, up and down, and that affects the volume of the track in the same way as it does when you're using a fader. But, well, why not just use a fader? Well, what you can do with this is you'll probably remember at the beginning of the video when you heard the solo that for the last 8 bars I flicked onto me bridge pickup, which was set at a higher volume. So let's find the point on the track where it does that. Is that about? That's about it there. Yep. So on the guitar I had the neck pickup volume turned down quite low to get a clean sound. And then for the last 8 bars, I decided to go a little bit raunchy and go to the bridge pickup, which was wound up full. And that leads to a difference in volume as well as a difference in perceived gain that you hear from the guitar sound. So obviously I need to compensate for that in the mix. So I'm going to right click on the envelope here at that point and go insert point. And then right next to it, I'm going to insert another point like that. What that now gives me is a hinge that I can move that up and down like that, so I can take that, the volume will be lower there than it is over here. Let's have a listen. There we go. And if we go to the mixing view, you'll see, keep your eye on this fader here as we hit that point where I put that little dog leg in the envelope. See how it jumped down? And you can do this on all of the tracks to adjust the volume at different points in the track. In the old days, in the 70s, before this automation was possible, you'd have 6 or 7 people all crowded around a mixing desk, all with different fingers on different faders, pushing them up and down at the relevant points. Well, you know, this is what automation allows you to not have to do. Right, I'm going to crack on and mix the rest of the track. That's basically how I do it, and you know, there'll be a lot more automation going on as we go through the track, and I'll probably put up a clip at the end of the video where you're seeing all of the envelopes and all of the automation going on as the tracks come in and out and volume levels vary throughout the piece. And as always, you'll find a full tab for that solo that we kicked the video off with in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation thing that you've just seen there. In case you want to pause it and make notes, you can download that and keep it forever. And the jam track I was playing along with as well, extended version of it. You probably already got this if you've been watching the previous videos, but just in case you haven't, it's going to be there as well, and that is all up on my Patreon page. There's the address, as you can see, link in the description. As I'm sure you know by now, $3 or roughly £3 a month gets you access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos, and of course a massive heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are also linked down below in the description. I'll leave you now with what I said I was going to do, which is a clip of the mix actually in action. We're just going to zoom in on the faders, and if you look closely you will see them just kind of notching up and down, courtesy of those envelope tweaks that I showed you how to do as different instruments come in and out and as I switch pickups on the guitar. That's what's coming next, but before we look at that, I'll just say I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful and informative in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. And of course, don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about the finer things in life, or not. We have a chat and a beer, basically. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Here's the mix. See you next time. Bye for now.